Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we decode the documents that companies don't necessarily want you to read. I've got some news for you. Expand Energy, the natural gas giant, is having its annual shareholder meeting, and the proxy statement is here, and this year is all about voting, compensation, and potential shareholder action, so let's dive in. Scroll notes of annual meeting of shareholders, June 5, 2025. 2025, scroll 2 first, a quick overview. The shareholder meeting is on June 5, 2025, and if you owned Expand Energy stock on April 7, 2025, you get to vote. This is your chance to influence the company's direction, so pay attention. Scroll election of directors, page 12, scroll 1. Of the most important things to vote on is who sits on the board of directors. We are voting for 11 nominees, and these people will make big decisions about Expand Energy's future. The board wants you to vote for all their picks, and their argument is that these nominees have the right mix of skills and experience to look after your shareholder interests. Makes sense so far. Scroll advisory vote to approve named executive officer compensation, say on pay for 2024 for page 30. 30-40-12 seeker next up, we get to weigh in on how much the top executives get paid. It's a non-binding vote, meaning the company doesn't have to listen to us, but they say they value our opinion. The board thinks its executive compensation program is good because it attracts talented leaders and links pay to company performance. So they are asking for you to approve their compensation plan for 2024. Scroll ratification of appointment of independent registered public accounting firm for 2025, found page 66, scroll finally. There's a vote to approve PricewaterhouseCoopers, also known as PwC, as the company's independent auditor for 2025. This is about making sure the company's financial statements are checked by someone independent. The board is all for keeping WC on the job, calling it sound corporate governance. Scroll utorden näringsregering the entitleability of exponential pro-expire metals for the 2025 annual scroll. So vetting is important, and there are multiple ways to do it. The internet, tablet, smartphone, phone, or even by mail, you'll need a 16-digit number that's on your notice, proxy card, or voter instruction form. Let's check out what Expand Energy has been up to in terms of highlights. They're patting themselves on the back, having completed a merger to become the biggest natural gas producer in the US. They're also touting better than expected numbers, about $1 billion in adjusted earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, depletion, amortization, and exploration, also known as EBITDAX, and about $600 million in capital expenditures. They're also claiming they'll save around $500 million annually because of the merger. Bold claims. Scroll investment grade credit rating scroll. They're also flexing their financial muscle, pointing to an investment grade credit rating and a $1 billion share repurchase program. This means they're planning to buy back their own stock, which can boost the stock price. Now let's talk about being green, because in this day and age, everyone wants to look like they care about the planet. Expand Energy is talking about sustainability. They're saying they want to hit net zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2035. They're also talking about being 100% responsibly sourced gas, or RSG. Alright, how's the company being run? That's corporate governance. They've adopted some corporate governance principles that they say will make sure the directors and officers are able to dedicate enough time to their jobs. The board also welcomed 4 new directors in 2024. The board consists of 11 people. The company says it has a good balance of experience, skills, and diversity. Apparently 36% of the director nominees are diverse based on gender, race, ethnicity, or nationality. So what skills do these directors bring to the table? Expand Energy says they've got leaders with experience in energy, marketing, finance, risk management, and more, all important for running a complex company. What about risks? Every company faces them. Expand Energy says its board is in charge of figuring out the big risks and making sure they're managed. Each committee of the board handles risks in their areas of expertise, but the whole board keeps an eye on the biggest ones. With everything online these days, cybersecurity is a big deal. Expand Energy says it has a multi-layered approach to protect its systems and information. Expand Energy claims that they want to hear from shareholders. They've been talking to investors all year round about things like corporate governance, executive pay, and sustainability. Shareholders can actually talk to the board through various methods: phone, email, internet, or mail. Expand Energy has a chairman of the board, a lead independent director, and a CEO. They think this setup allows the CEO to manage the company while the board keeps an independent watch. To prevent shady dealings, the company has a policy about related party transactions. If there's a deal worth more than $120,000 where a director or executive has a personal interest, the audit committee has to review it. Serving on a board is an important job, and they have a policy that limits how many public company boards the director can serve on. So like sports stars, directors need to retire eventually. Expand Energy's board has 5 committees: audit, compensation, environmental and social governance, marketing and commercial, and nominating and corporate governance. Each one has specific responsibilities. How much do the directors make? The non-employee directors get cash and stock. The cash is $80,000 a year, and they also get stock grants. Committee chairs get extra pay. Scroll Burian's deck, call chair scroll flat. Talk about the company's executive pay. The compensation committee designs the program to attract and retain top executives and reward them for good results. The pay is made up of salary, annual incentives, and long-term incentives. Most of the pay is tied to performance, meaning they only get the big bucks if the company does well. There's a Q&A with the head of the compensation committee, and he explains how the company wants to reward executives for outperforming their peers and also wants to be able to use their judgment when deciding on payouts. In 2024, some of the executives got raises. The company says this is based on their individual performance and to keep their pay competitive with other companies. The annual bonuses are based on hitting targets for cash generation, capital efficiency, and sustainability. But it has a safety net in the IP program. If executives fail to meet their goals for safety or methane emissions, their bonuses will be severely cut. They did really well on some sustainability targets and also achieved great results with new wells and capital efficiency. A portion of the bonus also depends on how well they achieve goals, like completing the merger, improving organizational efficiencies, and marketing the company's transformation. For the long term, most of the executives' pay comes in the form of equity, which means company stock. The idea is that if the stock price goes up, they make more money, aligning their interests with shareholders. Here's the result of the 2021 PSU program. Besides salary and bonuses, the executives also get the usual benefits: health insurance, 400 and match, and they're not allowed to use the corporate jet for personal trips. When Chris Lacey was appointed general counsel, he received a base salary of $490,000 and a long-term incentive target of $1.8 million, plus a one-time bonus and stock award to convince him to join the company. For 2025, the annual bonus will be based on the company's license to operate, creating evergreen value and making long-term value. To make sure the executive pay is fair, the company hires an outside consultant to advise the compensation committee. The company also compares its executive pay to other similar companies to stay competitive. The company doesn't use insider information when granting stock awards. Executives and directors have to own a certain amount of company stock to make sure they're thinking like shareholders. If the company has to restate its financial results because of wrongdoing, it can take back some of the executives' pay. The company says its compensation programs don't encourage executives to take excessive risks. All tips, so how much did the executives actually make? Here is a table. And finally, if an executive leaves the company, they might get certain payments depending on the circumstances. Scrollnet cash provided by used in TIC's operating activities. GAAP tick scroll Clifton companies also giving us some non-GAAP financial measures, adjusted EBITDAX and free cash flow. The big shareholders are Vanguard, BlackRock and T. Rowe Price, all big investment firms. So what's my take on Expand Energy? The merger was a bold move, and becoming the biggest gas producer has its advantages. However, there is also a big downside. The world is moving towards cleaner energy. The company's commitment to sustainability is a must, but the proof will be in how much they actually invest in it. Also, they say that their compensation programs don't encourage excessive risks. It seems to be a fairly standard approach for big companies with a lot of money in executives' hands that are betting on the company stock price. But as always, you have to remember the human element. It's still up to the board to manage the company well. So thanks for watching. If you found this useful, please subscribe, like and comment.